Good morning. I hope you're all alright. If you've joined over the past few weeks, you will know this already, but essentially I've been reintroducing our framework of style personality. So it's something we introduced at the start of the year that we put together to help you to shop more intentionally, to really understand your own style, to cut out the noise, to refine your wardrobe into pieces that will work together, that you can mix and match and build outfits that really feel you, and above everything else, bring you confidence, bring you the confidence and joy in dressing well and putting outfits together because you know your own style. I think a lot of us get overwhelmed by everything on social media, and what I hear from our customers is that you used to know what to wear for different occasions or events, but because your lifestyle's changed, your body shape's changed, your attitudes have changed, you're kind of struggling to know what your style is, and you've kind of lost your style mojo. So this whole series is really, and this whole framework is really about bringing back that confidence and that certainty around putting outfits together in an intentional way and in a way that feels like you. Hi. Last week we talked about classic minimalist style. The week before that I introduced the entire framework. Today I'm going to talk about the second of our 5 style personalities, which is the Edgy Outfitter. So I'm going to talk all about that. I'm going to talk about why it is a great style to embrace and the kind of positives around it. But I'm also going to talk about the pitfalls and the things to avoid. I'm going to talk about how to apply this style personality to summer, because this is probably a trickier one to apply to summer. Works quite well in lots of ways in autumn, winter. So I'm going to talk all about how to sort of develop a summer wardrobe around this style personality. And then I'm going to give you a couple of style tips, so 3 style tips for dressing well for summer if you feel like your style personality is more towards the edgy outfitter. I do say with all of these style personalities, it's a framework. You don't need to say I am an edgy outfitter, therefore I can never wear anything classic. It's more of a framework, and I will talk as I go about how you can kind of incorporate things that might be less edgy and more feminine or more classic into these looks as well. I'll quickly start with what I'm wearing. My own personal sort of style, I would say, is kind of classic minimalist with a little bit of edgy outfitter and a little bit of La Parisienne, which is one of our other style personalities. So today I've got on our summer wide leg trousers, really lovely, easy cotton poplin. I have got legs like milk bottles, so and I'm kind of going out today, but I didn't necessarily want to kind of fake tan, but I wanted something super cool and really easy and light. So I've gone for these because they're this lovely, light, breathable cotton poplin. But I also feel like while they're quite classic and simple in shape, they add a bit more edge because of their exaggerated volume. So that's one thing to think about. If you're more of a classic minimalist but you want to sort of dip your toe into the whole edgy, sort of edgier, make your look more edgy, then go for exaggerated shapes, because I think that adds a bit of a kind of more of a modern touch. It sort of takes it away from the sort of total classics into something a little bit more edgy, I would say. And then I've teamed it with our New Wave t-shirt. We also do this in white, which I'll show you in a mo. This is washed black, and then it's got this sort of slightly distressed repeated surfboard print. So good for summer, but a good way of, and I'll talk about this again, black and washed black are quite prevalent in this look. It's a nice way of sort of bringing washed black into something more summery, because you've got the kind of surfboard theme. And then I've got some Birkenstocks on. You'll notice that, and I'll talk about proportions later as well. This would be more edgy, these would be more classic, but with a little bit of an edge, but say edgy, classic. And I would say a Birkenstock is a little bit more edgy. If I went for a more classic shoe with this, for example, these are quite classic, quite a sort of simple thong sandal. I'd feel a bit less balanced because I would be classic on the bottom, edgy on the top. So I'm going to talk in this live a bit about proportions and balance as well, as a way of really nailing this style. So a quick check for your comments. Right, okay, what is the Edgy Outfitter style personality? So I'm going to talk through a little bit. Historically, it's kind of rooted in things like punk and rock and grunge. That doesn't mean we all need to kind of get piercings and come out in a Kurt Cobain t-shirt. But it's taking those elements and kind of understanding the history. And when we've put these frameworks together, we've done a lot of research. I've done a lot of research into kind of the history and the basis of these. So it's kind of rooted in punk, rock and grunge. So you'll see things like studding, and you'll see things like sort of more earthy, sort of more grungy colours. But it's bringing them into today in a way that feels current. It often plays with kind of masculine, feminine, or sort of polished and less polished looks. I think that's a really nice way of doing this style personality. Style icons, if you sort of think about, and it's quite a nice way of sort of getting your head into it, sort of think about a style icon. Think a bit about people like Kate Moss. She does this brilliantly, and she does it across the spectrum. So she will be at a very glam event, but you'll see that she still has a bit of kind of sort of rock chick in her look. She might be in a lovely sort of silk evening dress, but with a leopard print fur over the top, or a biker jacket or something like that. Debbie Harry would be more extreme, but kind of think about her style and sort of elements of it. And then Kristen Stewart, I think, does this really well. So she will sort of mix tailoring with sort of studding and things like that. So look up on Pinterest, look up those people. Fern Cotton, I think her style is quite kind of maximalist, but also she, I think, does the Edgy Outfitter style really well as well. So definitely go and have a look at on Pinterest and look for style icons as a way of really kind of getting your head into this. The pros of this style, so I would say it's a nice way to look modern and add confidence. It's a nice way to not feel like you've overthought your look and you've kind of you're trying too hard. I think for more modern looks and more confident looks, it's always good to have that element of, just thrown on, not tried too hard. And it's a nice way of kind of doing that. It is brilliant for festivals as well. So I'm going to talk a little bit about festival style. If you're lucky enough to be going to a festival, my friend Alice seems to be living at festivals and events and concerts. So I'm very, very jealous of her. If you are going to a festival, then this is a really nice sort of look to sort of pull upon. And actually sometimes, even if we are a classic minimalist for our whole time, our whole life, sort of day to day, it's quite fun to sort of play with a different style personality if you're doing something like going to a festival. I was chatting to a friend the other day and she's going to Glastonbury. She said, I'm going to feel so frumpy. Because she kind of dresses in classic, beautiful classic pieces day to day. So if you're looking for that kind of festival inspo, this is a good one as well. The cons and the sort of pitfalls of this, if you don't do it in the right way, it can look too try hard and it can look a bit caricature. So I would say it's all about balance. And, I say the right way, there's no right way really. Dress how you want and dress how whatever makes you feel good. But if you're less confident with putting these outfits together, I would say think about balance. And I'll talk a bit more about that as well. Right, essentials for the Edgy Outfitter wardrobe for summer. So I think this is a style personality that works really well with boho. So I've just pulled out the ruby dress. Gorgeous boho ruby dress, black, so black in particular, and I'll talk a bit more about colour in a mo, but black works particularly well for this look. But this is a nice way of doing black in summer because it's the lightest cotton voile. It's sushi voile, so you'll see this is the outer layer. It is lined, so it's not see-through, but there's so much volume in this dress, and it's just beautifully light, sustainable cotton. And then it has another light layer underneath as well. But this style I think works really well with boho. Normally I would say for this style personality, leather is key, or leather or faux leather is key. I think obviously it's harder to wear leather in summer because it's sweaty and hot. But you can definitely take this dress into the evening and do something like just throw a biker jacket over your shoulders, for example. So if you want to kind of still incorporate leather into your look in spring, summer, I would say choose it in the evening rather than in the day, and throw it over something nice and light and boho. This I think would also work really well. Actually, with this look that I'm wearing, I could definitely throw that over my shoulders in the evening. Or I could add in, this is our tiered skirt in the ivory. So I could wear that with this t-shirt and just throw a biker jacket over the top. And that would be a really nice, easy festival look. If you're going to a festival and feel like you don't know what to wear, this would work brilliantly because it's elasticated waist, it's super comfy. You can definitely wear it with flats. In fact, definitely don't wear it with heels. It wouldn't look right with heels. This kind of t-shirt, washed black, the colours work together. You're sort of pulling out the ivory tones with the skirt, and then just pop a biker jacket over the top for when it cools down, or a denim jacket, something like that. So if you're incorporating leather, and I think leather is key, but you don't want to be sweaty, do it with boho styles. Right, the other key element of the Edgy Outfitter wardrobe is denim. So if, like me, you live in denim, this is a really good one for you. I would say choose denim that is a little bit more distressed. So our Alice denim shorts are perfect for this. They've got that gorgeous lift-in look. These are the pale wash, which we have a little bit more stock of. These are the washed black. Washed black is a really good colour for this look. But the reason these work in a way that a more tailored denim short wouldn't necessarily is because you've got that really authentic wash and that authentic sort of slight distressed finish and the raw edge. So I love a raw edge on denim because it stops it looking too clean and too sort of polished. So Alice denim shorts, perfect for this, and again, really good festival look. I could go for either of these for a festival. Jeans wise, our Hayley kick flare, brilliant for this look. So these are our kick flare shape, and then you've got the distressing as well. So you've got the sort of fading down the front. Also works very well for kind of drawing the eye to the centre of the leg and sort of making a trouser or a jean more flattering, and then the distressing on the top as well. So again, just a really easy way of kind of giving yourself that edgy feel. You don't have to do, I think with denim, distressed denim, you don't have to try too hard. So you could just team these with a simple white vest, and that look I think would be the perfect edgy look, or with a boyfriend t-shirt even. So you see these people who just look effortlessly edgy and you think you've not done anything, like I can't see any element of your outfit that sort of feels particularly kind of put together or you know, or sort of outfitty, that you just look like you've thrown it on, and this is the kind of, this is that look. So a really good distressed pair of jeans, and you can pretty much wear anything with it. You could wear a white shirt with this and still look quite edgy. So they are key. Distressed denim is key. A band t-shirt, or when I say band t-shirt, like a sort of distressed t-shirt, a t-shirt that looks like you've bought it from a concert. So this is great. Also comes in white. This is the new wave. I would definitely be wearing those on my summer holiday if I wanted to embrace this style. Band t-shirt like the guitar t-shirt, you kind of got that cool distressed feel. That with a pair of jeans would add that element to your look. So you don't need to go the whole hog, you can just add a little element. Animal print, so there's kind of animal print and animal print, and this is where you need to be, like if you want to kind of create that edgy feel, you need to be a bit more thoughtful about which animal print you choose. So don't go for a sort of shiny satin leopard print with sort of quite strong colours. That wouldn't feel, I don't think, that wouldn't feel sort of in keeping with this style. What you want to do is go for a leopard print that is slightly more washed and on a base, on a fabric that's not shiny. So these are our Alice leopard print shorts. I think we've only got 1 or 2 of these left because they've flown out, but we will do them again next year. And we're bringing these out in some trousers, in some jeans soonish, within the next month. So choose a non-shiny base for your leopard print, and choose leopard print that is in more kind of earthy tones. It doesn't have to be leopard print, so you could go for zebra print. I would say this look together wouldn't necessarily be Edgy Outfitter. It would be a tiny bit more edgy, but I think because it's an animal print co-ord, it almost looks a little bit more put together. So it would be great if you are more of a modern romantic or classic minimalist and wanted to add a bit more of an edge to your look, because you're bringing in a little bit of this animal print. But what I would probably do to make this feel more edgy is take our poppy blouse and team it with our Alice shorts. This is a great print for that kind of, to add an edgy element to a look. A nice earthy tone. I'll come back to colours, but if you want to kind of incorporate a colour, go for earthy tones. And you've got this kind of dark, it's not true black, it's almost a sort of slightly off black, which stops it feeling too clean again. That's just a really lovely print for this look. So I would go for those two to make it feel a bit more edgy. The sleeves have a sort of slight feminine touch, so you are sort of softening it a little bit with the sleeves. So that's why I say it's nice if you're sort of more feminine in your normal style. Again, really good for a festival, or you could go for this with the Sarah washed black jeans when it's a little bit less baking. So that would be a good take on it. Or you could go for, really love this for sort of day to day and for holidays. This is the Safi zebra print skirt, and I would just team it really simply with the black Maya rib vest, which is now back in stock. We've had a big drop of these, and then I just go for some black sandals, black Birkenstocks, something like that with this. And that's a really nice way, if you're more kind of classic in style, or a little bit more feminine in style, and want to add a touch of Edgy Outfitter to your look, that's a really nice way of doing it. So animal print is key, but it has to be in washed tones and earthy colours. So this is a Safi skirt in our lovely sort of pink and cherry tones, which you'll be seeing lots more of going into autumn. So obviously the same style of skirt, but this I would say kind of captures that edgy feel. This doesn't, because it's in colour. So while it's animal print, and I love a bit of animal print with this style personality, an animal print in a kind of bright colour doesn't necessarily work. This feels more pretty and a bit more kind of floral almost. So think about, when you're choosing animal print, earthy tones, non-shiny fabrics, and more sort of washed feel. And then camo is a really good print for this look. This is a great jacket for adding that kind of edge to an outfit. So, and a brilliant festival jacket. This is the Corin camo jacket. So I sort of feel like you could put this on almost like a biker jacket with absolutely anything, and it would feel edgy. So I could wear this with tailored trousers and it would feel edgy. I definitely roll the sleeves up. I think that works with this look. I could put it on over the dress that I showed earlier, the ruby dress. That kind of adds that edgy feel to it. Or I could team it with even a dress that feels quite pretty. So this is our Brooke broderie dress in the gorgeous broderie, and I quite often wear this with Brooke, just to kind of take down the prettiness and the femininity and give it that little bit of cool. So the Corin camo jacket is brilliant for that, and as I say, a great festival jacket. I'll come back to my festival look with this in a second. Right, so that's animal print, camo print, really key. But I would say the other thing to think about is the details. So the entire piece doesn't need to be edgy, but there are certain details in a garment that you could look for if you want to kind of incorporate the edgy style into your look. So things like zips, exposed zips. Our Joy jumpsuit, which I forgot to bring down, has an exposed zip. Look for studs. Sometimes kind of cutout details can feel a little bit edgy if they're more geometric. So look for those kind of little details. The Skylar shoulder pad t-shirt. So these are a beautiful Greek cotton, the same fabric as our boyfriend t-shirt, and we'll be doing lots more in this as well. But just the shoulder pad and the cut of the sleeve, I think, adds an edge to this. So it doesn't have to sort of jump out as a sort of edgy, you know, it doesn't have to be a camo jacket. It can be an edgy element. So that would be my other tip when you're shopping, is look for those little details, that studding, the kind of exposed zips and edgy elements. So this t-shirt, if it didn't have a shoulder pad and it had a sort of neater, more sort of traditional shaped armhole, would look less edgy. But because we've added a shoulder pad, it's got that kind of slightly rock power feel. So again, sort of thinking about history, that kind of, you know, almost like the adamant shoulder pads, that kind of drawing from punk style. And then you've got the more extreme cut out armhole. But we've been, I think, quite clever with this. I was quite pleased with this because we wanted that cooler cut out armhole, but then we also know that sometimes people don't want to sort of show their bra straps. So we've given it the shape of the cut out armhole, but then we've got a modesty panel, this is called, that covers your bra strap. So you get the effect without the bra. But yes, look for those details. Carpenter pockets, again, so these are our Piper parachute cargos, which I love. Again, this would be a good outfit with this t-shirt, or you could style these with something like the Skylar. This, I think, would be in many ways a kind of classic outfit, but if you sort of look closer, it's got those edgy details. So you've got the shoulder pad, and then you've also got the carpenter pockets, which stop them, and the kind of wide leg, and then this cool little tie at the bottom, which means you can kind of cinch them in and wear them more ballooned over, or you can wear them loose. So with this little kind of metallic toggle. I think the width of these, the carpenter pockets, and those little details give these a little bit of an edge. So if you wanted to do this look in a more subtle way, and you were more classic minimalist, but you wanted to kind of incorporate it into your outfit, that would be a really good look. Piper parachute trousers and the Skylar t-shirt. Okay, accessories, I would say, are key, particularly if you just wanted to kind of dip your toe into this look. So maybe you know, you dress in quite a classic way day to day for work, for example. You don't want to buy a whole new wardrobe, but you want to feel a little bit cooler and a bit more edgy at weekends. So I would say accessories are really key for this. You could go for our Izzy rib dress. These are back on the website now. I know lots of you have been waiting for them. We've got lots of colours back. This is the classic black. So this dress can feel very simple, very classic, and kind of part of the whole classic minimalist style personality. But if I add an edgy belt, I can immediately take this from classic to quite edgy. So something like, I haven't got enough hands for this. Something like this, which is it's got studs. It's a marron belt, which I got in a sale. It's got the studs. It's got the tassels. But I've immediately kind of added an edge to a simple classic dress. So something like this, I think. You can add to lots of different things just to add a little bit more of an edge. Or this is from Bash, but more of a kind of cowboy style. So cowboy boots, cowboy elements are a really nice way of adding an edge as well. So again, really good to do that, sort of draw on that style with accessories, otherwise you can start to feel caricature. I would say if you are drawing on kind of more Western cowboy style, just pick one piece. I would say if I teamed this with cowboy boots and a cowboy hat, I'd look like I was going to a fancy dress party. But if I just pulled one element of cowboy, of Western style, so this with the dress, or cowboy boots with, you know, shorter cowboy boots with the dress, then that adds an edge. So this is where you start to kind of have to think about balance. This with something boho would be really nice. So that with the tiered skirt and just a simple vest would be really good as well. So think about your accessories. Quite often it's about the choice of accessories. So just to show you a few pairs of trainers. These are all from my favourite Erin Grace. So these are quite clean and classic, really lovely trainers. I could make my look feel a tiny bit more edgy if I swapped out these for these, which are a little bit more distressed. So you have to go the whole hog. You can just incorporate tiny little touches. So swapping from a cleaner trainer to something a little bit more sort of distressed and worn in. Metallic is a really nice element of this look as well. So something like this, where you've got the sort of muted metallic stars. So if I go back to my Izzy rib dress, even going from those trainers with it, which feels more classic, to those trainers with it, which feels a bit more edgy. So think about accessories and what you're choosing would be my top tip. Right, great for festivals. So sequins, I think are brilliant for this style personality. This is in our outlet for not very much at all. Obviously you can wear a vest like this. This is our Chloe sequin vest. If you want to put it in the keyword search, it should come up on the website. Chloe sequin vest is brilliant at Christmas. But I think this actually really comes into its own at a festival. So teamed with something like a washed black pair of shorts, and then a biker jacket or the Corin camo jacket. I mean, this is quite an edgy look. So this is probably more festival, where I think you can sort of go a bit more the whole hog. I would love that for a festival look. I think it works because the tones all work together. That's the other thing to think about. So I've not sort of introduced with the sequins. I've not introduced another colour. I think if this was another colour of sequin, it would feel too much. But because all of these tones tie together, you've got the kind of washed black, the earthy khakis, and then almost a kind of black chocolate sequin. I think they work very well. I also think sequins work really well with boho styles as well. So going back to tiered skirt, I would pop a biker jacket over the top of that. If you have a brown biker jacket, that would be even better, I think. So yeah, the sequins are good for kind of festival style and for the edgy look. Right, my top tips for incorporating the Edgy Outfitter style into your summer outfit. So number one, think hard about colour. It's easier to do this look in autumn winter because black is key, and obviously in summer I feel like we are a little bit more colourful, or if we're not more colourful we all go for sort of lighter colours. Lighter colours can feel more clean, and it's harder to sort of make them feel edgy. My tip, if you want to kind of embrace a bit more colour in summer, but you still want to sort of feel a bit more edgy, is to go for earthy tones. So don't go for primary colours. Go for more sort of earthy, a bit more. So I call them dirty colours, in the nicest way. So ochre is a really good one. If this was a bright yellow, it wouldn't feel at all edgy, but because it's more of a sort of earthy ochre. Think about mineral colours that you get from the ground. Then ochre, I think, works, and I would team ochre with, I haven't got it, but imagine this was the best, the Maya Rib Vest. Also back in stock in chocolate. So teaming those two colours, I think. And then I could add my camo jacket, would be lovely. So I've incorporated some colour. I've incorporated some colour. I've stopped it feeling too dark, but I have kept it edgy. So there you go. That would be a nice way of incorporating colour. Also grey marl. If you want a sort of lighter colour in summer, then grey marl is a really good colour for sort of maintaining that more sort of laid back, tough, edgy feel. This is the grey Izzy rib dress. Again, check a biker jacket over the top of this, and I think you're already feeling quite edgy with your look. Team that with the trainers. So yes, look at grey marl. If white feels too clean and not edgy enough, but you want to kind of go for lighter colours, then think about grey marl. Again, if you want to if you do want to embrace a bit of colour, but you don't want it to look too bright, something like the Izzy rib dress in red, just draping a grey marl sweatshirt over the top. Sorry, I'm doing this really badly. Drape a grey marl sweatshirt over the top. It just gives a tiny little kind of sort of nod to edge. It just sort of takes it down a notch, sort of goes from, you know, a beautiful, bright, colourful dress, but sort of takes it down and makes it feel more casual and a bit more laid back. So that would be my other thought. Think about colour. Go for earthy tones, go for grey marl. My tip for dressing whatever the season with this style and kind of building your outfits is to think about proportion. So if I try to explain that, I've kind of talked through initially with my current outfit. Edgy, cleaner and classic, and slightly more edgy. If I were to take a sort of cleaner shoe, a more classic shoe with this, I'd feel off balance because I feel like I'd taken a classic outfit and just sort of added something that didn't really work with it. So it's about, thinking about proportion is about tying your looks together. So with this, think about your outfit in terms of thirds rather than in halves. So for example, if I took the Iris tulle skirt, our best-selling tulle skirt, really lovely and pretty. I can make this feel edgy if I think about my outfit. So I would go for this with the Maya Rib Vest. So this is kind of more feminine, this is more classic. And if I put my magic camo jacket, it's getting a lot of love today. If I put my camo jacket over the top, this is 1/3 edgy and 2/3 something else. So actually this is 2/3 kind of a bit classic or pretty. But I've gone 1/3 edgy and 2/3 other things. if I teamed this with this t-shirt, for example, and put camo jacket over the top, I think it would feel a bit off balance, because what I've done is my entire top half is now edgy. Ignore the shoes. Imagine I've got more classic ballet pumps on. And my bottom half is not. Do you see? So I've kind of split myself in half. And I think that goes from an outfit that feels considered and put together, and that works together in a way that kind of combines different styles, to actually it's a bit off balance and I've not really thought about it, because I've kind of gone edgy on my top half and pretty on my bottom half. So I just think swapping out the edgy t-shirt for something more kind of clean and classic, like the Maya rib vest, sort of pulls the whole thing together, because then I've gone 2/3 classic or pretty, 1/3 edgy. If that makes any sense. I don't know, tell me if it doesn't. Equally, the example, and it kind of is easier to do proportions in summer when you've got dresses. So you could take something, as I say, like the Brooke broderie dress, which effectively is 2/3 because it's doing the top half and the bottom half, and then you just add one edgy piece to it. I think that's the easiest thing. So if you're sort of struggling with proportions, I would say just add one edgy piece to your look, or go all edgy and add one classic piece to your look. And then just details. So again, for summer, add a little bit of friction into your look with the details. So something like our Bria balloon sleeve dress in gorgeous linen. I think this works particularly well for this look, because it's a lovely earthy colour. And you've got this slight slub in it as well, but it has got more feminine details. It's got the balloon sleeves, it's got the lovely sort of floaty skirt, but I can make this look feel a little bit more edgy, for example with my shoe choice even. So if I went for Birkenstock with this dress, it would feel a bit more edgy, or with so if I chose like a fisherman sandal over sort of more of a ballet pump, again, I've kind of added a little bit more edge. Or I could go for like a tassel bag, for example, and a biker jacket. So something like that, or a denim jacket, or the camo jacket. But just adding in a little bit of friction, so you're not completely polished. You've added something a little bit tougher. But I hope that has been helpful. So essentially a really good way of kind of embracing a cooler look, feeling very modern, feeling confident, but do think about proportions so that it doesn't feel caricature, and do think about balance. It's a spectrum, so you can go all out festival style with camo and distressed denim and sequins, but at the other end of the spectrum you can just introduce a tiny design detail into a piece, or a tiny accessory into an outfit, and immediately you're taking your outfit or a piece of clothing from quite classic or pretty to something cooler and a bit more edgy. So think about it in terms of a spectrum, and then particularly in summer, you know, if you don't want to feel too heavy with kind of blacks and washed blacks, think then about earthy colours or grey marl as alternatives. Consider proportions, so don't split your body in two with edgy classic or vice versa. So think about sort of pulling your whole outfit together in those proportions, and finally add friction to an outfit with little details. I hope that helps. Next week we will be doing modern romantic style, so talking about kind of prettier pieces, more feminine pieces, really lovely style personality for spring summer. So I'll be talking all about it then. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you all have a lovely sunny day. Go and enjoy the weather while it lasts, and pop your questions in the comments. Take care. Bye bye.